Okay.
Hello, everybody! If it's Wednesday, it's Warhammer, and that must mean it's time for another episode of Warhammer Weekly. Joining me, as always, is my co-host Tom. What's going on, buddy? How you doing, Tom?
Hello. Hello, friends. Sorry. As for those of you that have been longtime viewers, you likely realize that oftentimes on Thanksgiving, quality on my end is less than stellar because I'm hiding out somewhere in the middle of nowhere with
Right.
no internet signal. So that's
Yep.
where we are right before Thanksgiving. It's a
Absolutely.
joy to be with you all.
Absolutely. Yes, I am fuzzy. It's a problem. There you go. It's just what it is. For whatever reason, my camera does not want to focus on me specifically. It's focused on something else. That's a good way to start the show. Me just doing that and like getting that going. That's fun. But here we are. It has frustrated me to no
And then
end.
having like a 12-second delay.
Yeah, I cannot explain why it's so fuzzy. I really don't know. I don't know why it won't focus in on me. I tried playing with the light. I restarted it. I did a lot of things. None of it worked. So I'm just a little fuzzy tonight. I'm sorry, everyone. That's okay. Look over here tonight because that's where all the fun stuff is. And I just realized I left the wrong thing up. Just killing it tonight. All right. Yes. Tonight we're gonna do
We are
the
just knocking out of the park, folks.
That's right, folks. Welcome to the big show. All right. So, anyways, yeah, tonight is the Slaves to Darkness book review. There it is. Maybe I can get it to focus on the book. You think it'll focus on the book? What if what if I just do this for the whole show? How's that gonna be?
Maybe. It's a
Yeah.
very red book.
Yeah. It feels like it would focus on that. But at any rate, we're gonna talk about that, and this is also, Tom, like a huge news week. Huge. So much news. So Tom, let's just we gotta buddy, we gotta get
I
going.
mean,
We got a lot to cover.
some stuff happened.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, the hottest thing out there was the rumor engine, right? Right?
Well, that's nice. We can skip right over
Right.
that. Yes, the rumor engine is some kind of Space Marine vehicle
It's
thing.
fine.
It's a 40K thing. We don't care. Let's get to the real news. All right.
Do you want to do Chaos, the old world Chaos Lord? Or
Yeah,
do you want to
yeah.
jump
I have
forward
that.
to
I have
all
that
the
up
really
next.
exciting AOS stuff?
Well, we cover this one quick. I think this is pretty cool. She looks
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, this is like a Chaos Lord for Old World, but she's pretty great.
Yeah, sure.
It's like worse now, by the way, how fuzzy my screen is. I can't explain it. Find me. Be focused on me.
Well, I'm on a cell phone today because
And you're crystal
my
clear.
internet.
That's what I love
Discord
about
won't
this.
update.
You're like crystal clear on your cell phone. I can't get a leg up here. At any rate, I think she looks awesome. I would just remove the like skull and the head from her belt. That's that extra nonsensory is not necessary. Otherwise, yeah, she looks cool as.
The Bojangle. Yep.
Yeah, extra jangles. I don't like the three on the side of her
Yeah,
cape and stuff are fine.
that's yeah.
So
It's a square base for me. Like I know it sounds silly. Like they used to be on square bases, but I didn't realize how much aesthetically round bases really did for a model. Like it
sure,
really, really does something.
sure. I mean, yeah,
So
but like you would we would
it's
put
fine.
her on a round if we were using her for AOS. So it'd be fine. So,
I know, I know. I will say that it feels like the pose is a little bit static, like just compared to what we've gotten used to. Like it's very normal for old world and old
yeah,
world style models. But it was one thing that struck me looking at it was it just felt very like not a little bit blocky, but very static,
sure.
which was disappointing.
Well, it kind of has to be, right? Because
Yeah.
it has to rank up in a unit or whatever. So they've only got so much space to work with. But yeah, I gotcha. All right. At any
Yep.
rate, oh, there you go. So you're not dealing with
Does a
with World
rotated
Star.
cam, does that work?
It works fine. Yeah, you're fine. There you
Yeah.
go.
Does that work better?
Yeah,
Okay.
I assume you're gonna switch to your laptop here
Good.
at some point, so it doesn't matter.
Wonderful.
Look, I can't get my camera to focus. You're
Uh,
over here in
it's
World
now
Star mode.
downloading update 3 of 6 instead of 1 of 1.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Next up, let's talk about Gitmob.
We're just both thankful to be here.
Indeed. Really, tech stuff makes me
Oof,
very angry
oof.
because I just noticed this.
Um,
Like I was testing
I love
everything
it.
else, but not this
Um,
before the show.
yeah,
It's
so
never occurred.
no, not at all. Yeah, let's talk about Gip. Uh, a lot of wolves. A little bit out of left field. Like we had like Snagla's group, and then we had the full unit come by. So we had the Underworld's Warband, and we had the full unit.
Yep.
I did not see them adding this mess, like all the wargs, right? Like all the bleeding into the Get mob. And it just strikes me, it's like, do they have anything else other than wolves and the Doom Diver? Like, is that everything?
So you've got wolf riders on. You got the wolf riders. You got the chariots. You got the boss, and you
And
got the
then you got
doom
the big
diver.
wolf. Oh, the
Yeah.
chariots. Right. So everything has wolves but the Doom Diver, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was the vibe that I was getting, and I struggle with it because like I understand that they are like mimicking or hearkening back to the prior, um, right, the prior incarnation of Gitmob, right? Like
Yeah.
right at the turn of the edition, O&G books, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the Doom Diver, don't get me wrong. And I love the new model. Like the new model looks nice. I struggle with the fact that like I don't know how it fits into an army of wolves because that's what everything else is.
I fixed it, Tom. I fixed it. I'm clear
Oh,
now.
good.
Yeah, it works.
Look
I
at you.
noticed. I
I
noticed
can't
that on the
see you at
little.
all.
I had
I
been
don't
cleaning the
you're
lens, but there was a sensor that was messed up. I've cleaned that. Hoo-yah. We're
mm,
here, baby. We're back.
nice.
All right, this show
You
is full speed ahead.
you are
Let's go.
okay. Yeah, I'm tepid on the Wolves. And I know that's probably like that is probably blasphemy for some people, but
Okay.
I, I didn't want this. Like we already have all of these spiders, right? Why
Mhm.
don't we have more? I don't know. It feels like a real miss with all the spider fang that were already there. That which would fit arguably better with the Git mob, or not the Git mob, with the Moon Clan being like underground and you have spiders and stuff like that. But the wolves, like I don't know, I just really struggle with it because this feels like a different army.
Okay.
Like this
So
feels like you have an Iron Jaw. Hold on. So
good.
I got it. This feels like you have an Jaws army, and they've just arbitrarily decided to throw in 2 or 3 new Cruel Boys units, even though
Yeah.
there's no other Cruel Boys in the army but
Sure.
like the Iron Jaw. That's what this feels like.
Yeah, I gotcha. Um, it was not. I mean, it wasn't on my bingo card. I've got a couple more pictures of the models here.
Sure.
Like
Yep.
this boss is ludicrously cool. Okay, let me just start here. Like from an actual model perspective, the boss on Warg or whatever, I mean, this model is like exceptional. This is such wonderful
He's fine.
composition and design. Uh I am that's fine. I really think this dude rocks. I do not like his weapon as per usual. They often design weapons, main weapons that I don't like. This has been pretty classic for their mounted heroes recently. They keep trying to make different weapons that
Hmm.
are just like very unusual, and almost all of them are a miss. So I would just like put a normal cutlass or something in his hand, which is what he should have. Like
Hmm.
actually, with this composition, if he had a cutlass that curved like this up and back, it would actually complete
Yeah.
the composition.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep.
because it would then counterbalance the flag. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
like
do.
that's just a
Yeah.
miss on the
Yeah.
designer's
Yeah.
part
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
golden angle, but that's an easy fix. Um Other than that, like the goblin, his pudginess, the like neck fat roll, the armor on the wolf, the face on the wolf, the pose standing up on the rocks, everything about this is incredible. It's just like absolutely top notch. I don't know, Tomb King Tristan, if it's like you know, number one or number two sculpt. I mean, no, it's not. It's not better than a Keeper of Secrets. Let's not be crazy. But like it's really really impressive. It is one of the most impressive cavalry guys, but they've gotten really good at cavalry guys. And you called out, like, of course, the city's marshal, which I also agree is just an unbelievably impressive sculpt. This guy also doesn't feel like an
Yeah.
absolute nightmare to paint, which I like. He's got some stuff, but he feels like he has the appropriate amount of stuff for a figure of his size. Like, his wolf is not super
Yeah.
crazy. It's fine. Um,
Sure.
just another shot of him from the side here, because I do just think this model is, like, exceptionally good. I like that you can have him without his helmet too. They have like a helmetless option. That's just, you can see his big fat head, which, like, fat goblins are fun. We should have more fat goblins. Okay. Gitz is the only destruction army I don't play. This did not make me want to play them. I'll say that. I don't really have an interest in
I mean,
standard goblins, but that's fine.
wouldn't you rather paint squigs? Like, if you're going to paint something, like, wouldn't it be more enjoyable to paint squigs than would be to dive into wolves?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't. This thing that of the Git mob has no appeal to me personally. Like, their chariots and the wolf riders and all that stuff has just never appealed to me. That's not a value judgment on them. I think actually all of these are really good. I'm glad they're here. I'm sure Tom, by the way, is switching over to his laptop. I think all of these are actually really good. I mean, I'm glad they're here. I think the goblin people are going to be excited, but man, what does this army have now? 6, 7 factions in it? 8 factions? How many factions do we need within the goblins book?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. But
1, 2. We have 4 currently, right?
we have 4 currently. Technically, this is number 5. Yeah, exactly. I'm being a bit jokey, but yes, it's really 5 sort of individual factions. It is wild that they got this release and so many other armies are hurting for, like, resculpts or action. Like, look, I'm if you're really excited about this, I'm excited for you. I think these are all cool figs. They don't do anything for me, but that's not a judgment that I think they're bad. Nor do I want to see them unmade. But, like, Tom, if you had the choice for, like, for the betterment of the AOS as a whole, between these new models and or resculpting an equivalent number of units in the ogre faction, what's the better play here?
Ogre was literally gonna be the example that I went to.
Right.
Or let me be even more even more spicy and suggest Fire Slayers.
I mean, sure. The point is, there's lots of armies that could use expansion that didn't have a lot of units or that need resculpts, or, like, there's a lot of people in those 2 positions.
I was gonna say, I'm not just talking about expansions. I'm just talking about resculpts
Yeah, I gotcha.
of all the naked baby dwarves, right? Like, yeah.
But at any rate, I do like these. Like, I think they're really good, and I think they will be, like, I cannot explain that when this came up on the preview show, I was, like, gobsmacked, because you could have given me 10 guesses and I wouldn't have guessed this. I mean, I was hoping, like, if we were going to get more goblins, I was hoping we'd get the goblin sky pirates or something like that. My biggest problem with this is it feels quite rote. Like, it's cute, but it's just, it's really quite rote and boring. When do we get back to, like, actually exploring the mortal realms and the wildness and weirdness that is the mortal realms? If this was like replaced by square bases and this came out for the old world, I would not in any way think it was incorrect.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say, is that this feels more like Old World. This feels more like something that had a home there, as opposed to something that sits alongside Lumineth or sits alongside, KO or something like that. Like, it was so surprising to me that this is the way they went.
Right. Exactly. And so, but okay. I mean, someday I would really love to know the full story of how they make their decisions on what models to design. Because one has to assume it's an important decision-making thing. Like, the joke for a long time was just, oh, it's whatever the sculptors sculpt is what we write rules for, right? But that's not true. Obviously, I know what actually goes on in there. There is a senior management team. They make it, like, over the sort of product and development, and they make a decision about the areas they want to explore and what they feel would be best models to make. And they give sort of, like, then they give a design edict to the set of creatives, which includes digital art, lore and sculpting, all the first stages, and then those teams all work in concert to create something. Like the digital artists begin drafting designs and work with story people, and then the sculptors begin working on that once they get the designs, and so on and so forth. But that's not what I mean. Like, I understand how that works. I want to understand how they make the decisions they make, right? Like, why did the management team decide goblins were the thing to do? It's crazy. So, at any rate, that's what I'm.
It's just wild. Like dark, the closest equivalent to this would be Dark Oath, right? Like the Dark Oath
Sure.
release that Slaves to Darkness just got, right?
Yeah, okay.
Like that is a very equivalent move here, but
low tech, could fit in the old
fit
world, just updated visuals and stuff like that for a sort of low to the ground faction. Yeah.
But it was so clean with Dark Oath.
Well, because
what they
the
were
existing
producing and how it
because
fit and what it was
replacing. Yeah. Right. You had old
exactly
Garbo
right.
Marauder sculpts that were terrible.
Right. And so it was just a natural fit. It slid right into that slot. Like this is developing, this is groundbreaking, this is new territory that they're designing into. And that's what I struggle with. Is that it just feels like if they're going to do new stuff, it shouldn't have been functionally a resculpt from the old world.
It's weird. Chris H said one theory is that it is a feud between them and Specialist Design Studio. They're trying to steal their thunder, so they did goblins before Specialist Design Studio could. I hope decisions aren't being made for such petty reasons, but who knows? Anyways, the sculpts are really good. I do think the wolves especially are exceptional. Like the actual anatomy, they have clearly gotten really good at sculpting natural creatures. Like the musculature, the fur, all that stuff. Fantastic. So my hat is off to the designer, who I think did an amazing job on these. I just don't understand them, or why. Why now, I guess, is my question. But anyways. All right, next news item. Let's get into it, because the next one is moving to another destruction faction. Them war clans, and one of the worst pieces of cover art I've ever seen, continuing on the new journey of terrible cover art. I'm sorry if you're the artist who's responsible for this. I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to consistently. I'm sure this is one person. I don't mean to consistently just punch him in the face every time, but my dog.
Can I?
What is this?
Can I throw out a theory?
Please.
That it might be all AI art.
It is not. The guy who did the old art retired. This is and this is the new person that they brought up. It's that simple.
Oh, got it. Okay. Well,
it's not actually.
It feels like AI art. It feels like soulless AI art.
This feels like the guy that's sitting in the waiting room next to Beetlejuice, with the tiny shrunken head. Okay. What is going on here? Anyways, so this would have been perfectly acceptable as like a interior piece of art I forgot about as I was crafting over, but this is not cover art. It's just not up to the level. So okay. At any rate, Oryx was still two factions in one book, so there you go. We got our Swamp Bogglers and our Orc clans. There's some kind of army of renown for the combined faction, but I'm sure it'll be highly limited in some way. We'll see what happens with that. And then, Tom, of course, you thought that as playing Oryx, one of the great things was that you got to escape the awful burden of actually having to have faction terrain. No longer. Now we have this new big dumb thing that looks stupid.
And it's on a base. It's actually a base.
It is on a base
of terrain. We've never had that before.
Yeah.
Like terrain has not been based up until now. And so I saw that and I was like, really, guys? Really? I don't know.
I do enjoy that the faction that's all about destroying civilization and burning down buildings and just breaking the world of that
things
is now carries a building around with them. Oh, they erect it quickly and shoddily. Oh, do they? Is that what they do? They're just carrying around lumber and a giant stone head. Come on.
I don't know what to say. I'm angry that they share a terrain piece that is a multi sculpt. I'm angry that they share endless spells now.
Yeah, they do.
Like,
Yes.
I thought we escaped endless spells, right? But we
Uh-huh.
didn't. They have their own. They expanded the most uninteresting part of the army in Swamp Bogglers with a Hobgrot foot
Hobgrout
hero.
boss, yeah. I literally didn't even grab a picture of him because I couldn't be bothered.
Like, what are the odds they get this foot boss right?
It's he's whatever. He's gonna be a dude with like crit auto wound, and on a if you roll a die and he does wound
Sure,
somebody, you roll a die and on a 6-up they die. That's his rules. Congratulations.
sure.
I just gave you the rules. I don't know that. I haven't seen anything. I'm just that's what he's gonna be. And he's gonna have 5
Still
wounds and
not
a 5-up
interested.
save, and he's
Still,
dead instantly if he gets into combat, and it's stupid. Okay. Because this is AOS
still not
4.0.
interested.
Regular heroes do not go into combat. They get turned into red mist if they walk into combat. And yes, this thing is eminently proxyable because it's on a base, which is nice. I do like that it's on a base, as everyone said in the comments. That means like, hey everybody, look, new fun challenge. Build your own Auric little battlement. You don't need to buy this. Nobody needs to buy this. No person in the world needs to buy this. It's on what? Probably a 60 or 80 mil round? Cool. What's your version of an orc, of a hastily constructed orc tower? This is just license for you to make whatever you want. Like, I'm not trying to ruin GW sales, but I don't care if no. I literally hope no one in the world buys this. That's what I hope. That's what I hope, Tom. 0 humans buy it.
Well, I was considering buying it, but then you just reminded me that I have a bunch of 3D printed orky terrain.
Yeah, exactly.
I
get an 80 mil base, get some popsicle sticks or little shish kebab skewers, and just like,
you know what,
figure it out. What's your orc thing? Go nuts.
I already have it. It's even better than this. You could make an entire club's worth of these just by getting the flesh tree boxes from Warcry. Remember they had a bunch of like fort tree tower stuff.
Yeah.
They were all over the place.
Yeah.
Just put a bunch of those on 80 mil bases. Everybody gets their own tower. Done.
So, at any rate, it's ugly, and I do not like it, and I do not like the idea of having to have faction train in my Iron Jaws. You've made me very angry, in case that's not clear. So, just, like, build it yourself, folks. Don't waste your money. Okay, so then endless spells. We got 3 of them. The little Foot of Gork, which is fun. A low-hanging fruit that is hanging so low it was resting on the ground. We finally went down and picked it. We've been talking about since endless spells existed. The thing was, when are we going to get the Auric endless spell? This is fine. Like, whatever. It's fine. As I've said many times, the problem with endless spells I have right now is actually just that the army endless spells tend to be the bad ones, and everybody just keeps using Morbid and Primal because those are still the best ones. So like, whatever. I don't like extra models. I don't like painting and bringing extra models, and these all look quite big. So,
yeah.
TBD. I like these. These are fun. Like, they're fun little concepts. Like, the Stompy foot is cool. It's neat. So.
But will it be better than Primal or Morbid?
No. Martin says, does the swamp tap for black mana? I would say that looks more like maybe there's a bayou to that. We are talking about swamp boggler, so I'm sure I can get green or black out of that.
Yeah, that checks out.
I would argue that the Cruel Boys are green black.
And it's cheaper than as opposed to red green like Iron Jaws.
Yeah, Iron Jaws are red green. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Gruul versus Golgari. That's the difference between the two. Yeah.
Of course. And I'm sure it's cheaper than an actual bayou. So.
Well, that's almost definitely true. Okay. So at any rate, like I don't dislike faction spells, like the individual faction spells anymore. They're fine. Just like I wish they would do more with them and kind of make
they just need to be good.
Worse. Yeah. Or just like make the main ones worse, and we all just deal with these how they are, and that's fine. Like then, because honestly, most of the faction manifestations aren't game disruptive in the same way that like Morbid and Primal are. They just aren't.
I can't think of any that are game breaking.
Right. They tend to be like one attack spell, that goes out and is a thing you summon that then runs around. One kind of standstill utility buff thing, right? Or whatever. And then like one kind of mobile, maybe has some minor attacks, maybe has a minor buff or
utility.
Debuff. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So like a mobile buff or debuff, a static buff or debuff. So those usually oppose each other, and then like some kind of angry fight.
A predatory attack. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like a perfectly fine bonus, right? So, at any rate, there you go. A lot of argument about exactly what color pairing the Cruel Boys are. Hey, all right, Matthew Richardson, what's going on? I've been watching y'all for 3 years, but I lived in England and now finally get to tune into a live. Yay! All right, welcome back. Welcome back to the States, Matthew. Good to have you back, buddy. Okay. Mark and Dre, what are S2D's magic colors? Yeah, Grixis. Yeah, definitely Grixis.
Yeah, Grixis.
100% Slaves to Darkness is Grixis.
They solved that when they
did it in 40K.
Yes, when they did it.
It's very apropos.
Yeah. Although they mapped Archeon to Najeela, so that would.
We're not going to talk about those jokes of AOS cards they made. Those weren't real. And Dryston, I agree with you. Kron Spine, so I don't have to think too hard on endless spells. Yes. That's right, baby. Okay.
I mean, that's what I ran.
Absolutely. So, Abaddon, no, Nurgle has to have green in it because Nurgle. S2D does not because it's only partially there, and Nurgle is also in black, so there you go. At any rate, yeah, so that's these. I think that's the last picture I have. Other news item, Tom, which we can talk about. We're actually going to do it after the S2D. We're going to break this up a little bit because it's in the same thing as the S2D points. But we also got the FAQ and points today for S2D, and there were some changes in there. So stay tuned for that one.
Nice.
Okay?
Nice.
All right.
We also had the championships this last weekend.
Yes, we did.
Do we just want to mention we had a Stormcast Eternals win? Nice flexible list. Took home the win, which is exciting. We also had Zinch up there. We had a Cruel Boys list up there with Kragnos that I wasn't too I didn't hate too much. And what was the other one that was up there in the final 4 or so? I'm blanking on the other one. Regardless, I think they had one of each Grand Alliance, if I remember correctly.
Oh, nice.
I
didn't catch that. I didn't catch that. That was nice.
Yeah, it was OBR,
so Stormcast, Zinch, OBR, and Cruel Boys.
And Cruel Boys. Yeah, I think that was the top 4.
Nice. Yeah, that was that weekend. I do want to shout out as well a couple other things, just some quick notes in the news category. And so the first thing is my video from last week was about Cult of Paint's new Kickstarter, Deogard. I got to paint one of their models. I had John Ninus is painting the other half of that model, as you know if you watched my video, and not enough of you did, but that's okay. Go watch it. It's fun, and it teaches you how to paint some cool stuff. At any rate, the Deogard 2 Kickstarter is going on right now. I'll drop a link for that down below. Technically, that could be my pick of the week, but I feel it's better under news. So you can pick up that cool model I painted, but also I'll just say my pick here real fast. I'll come back to it in a second, but it's John's video that's coming out on Friday. So we'll get back to that in just a second. And then my other quick sort of news item is tomorrow. If you're interested in any of the games that Uncle Adam and I make with Snarling Badger Studios, including Death Wizard's Majestic 13, Space Station Zero, Rain in Hell, or either of the issues of Snarl, then that is those are all going to be on sale starting tomorrow. We're going to do a Black Friday sale. We'll tweet about it and stuff like that with links, but you can go just through our website, through snarlingbadger.com. You can find everything linked down below. So if you were thinking or on the fence about picking up any of those games, they're all going to be on sale starting tomorrow evening, and it'll go through Cyber Monday. Okay? So check them out. There you go. There's my news items. Shall we transition into some pick of the week?
Yeah, we can certainly do that.
And real quick before we do, let me do this real quick. MC, Vince, sorry, Vince, can I get your quick thoughts on Spearhead? I'm guessing not in favor, but I was curious about yours and your co-host insight. No, I'm absolutely in favor. I think Spearhead rules. Yeah, it's very fun and good and a great way to either go to start to eventually go tall, like you start out and that's a good base to your army that you then build on and build into a larger army, or to go wide where you just collect a bunch of spearheads and paint them all up. I think Spearhead's really awesome. Tom?
I love it. I have everything, but I think one or two spearheads built and primed and based. So I think that spearhead is a very viable way. You all haven't heard me spruik hatchet recently. I'm going to do it again. For those that don't know, there's a hatchet subscription. By the way, I get no kickback from them. They give me nothing for this. There's a hatchet subscription. I bring this up now because probably next year it won't. The current subscription, if you jump in, is giving you stuff from third edition. If you jump in, if it's following the 40K trend, then all of the spearheads will likely be available in Hatchet come, or like not all of them, but it would be 20 of them. 20 of them are likely going to be available in and through the Hatchet magazine come next year. So if you do like Spearhead, that'll be a neat opportunity for those that are wanting to jump in.
Nice. God Santa the
I love Spearhead.
Sure. God Santa, the answer to your question of an airbrush for beginners is like if you're just truly beginning, like honestly, most any cheap thing like a Masters G22 or 23 is perfectly fine to just learn on. And then once you've got your bearings, because you stand a high chance of breaking your first one and or clogging it and or ruining it. So something cheap that's like $20 or $30 like that is fine. It gets you a tank. Just get the more important part that you get is like the setup, the compressor with a tank and stuff like that, and the tubes and all that stuff. And then once you've got like your bearings and you know you're not going to just destroy the thing, then get yourself like an Iwata HPCS or Harder and Steenbeck, like basic Infinity or something like that. Like start with something cheap and that you can effectively throw in the trash, after 6 months or a year or whatever, once you've kind of learned your ways around the thing. You're just using it for priming and basic base coating on large models, and then get yourself something that's like not crazy expensive but a little nicer. So there you go. Okay, that's what I would say. Like and it doesn't have to be that one thing. Like just don't. My point is, start cheap. Anything at the lower end, learn what you're doing, and then buy the like pseudo more expensive thing. Like you can go to $100 to $200 model after 6 months or a year, and then have the knowledge to actually get like the actual value out of that. Okay, let's do some pick of the week. All right. So Tom, what would you like to share with everybody for a pick of the week?
Yeah, this is going to be a weird one because it's a mainstream thing, not a like content creator.
Okay.
But they are making content. So I was doing a lot of traveling this last week, and I realized that I've had a Warhammer Plus subscription for longer than I want to admit.
Okay.
And I had watched a total of like 2 or 3 things. And so I just grabbed my iPad and literally loaded up like everything, all of Hammerball, all the everything. And just like as I was traveling in the airport or whatever, watched like most of the series, most of the Hammer Bolters.
The fact that you could watch almost everything on a streaming service on a couple of trips says a lot about the amount of content. You ain't getting to the bottom of Netflix and an airport trip.
No. I mean, there was probably, I don't know, there was probably 10 to 20 hours of content total, over the, that I could watch over the course of a week or whatever. And, I mean, I didn't watch everything, but I watched.
I understand. You watched a lot. I get it.
Like
we're not in the world
most
of
the animation stuff. Yeah. Yep. Some of the Hammer Bolter stuff was fun. Callus and Toll. Obviously the Dark Oath tribe brand in the group. So those were all enjoyable watches. I really like the Black Talon series. It really surprised
Everybody says
me.
It's really good.
It was only 6 episodes or something. Yeah, like I mean, I'm not gonna say it's really good. What I'm gonna say is that it surprised me and it had some fun storytelling twists. And so it
Yeah,
made
it can't be as good
Stormcast
as Arcane.
interesting.
It doesn't have Imagine
Right?
Dragons. So I mean, what are you going to do without the Imagine Dragons? What are we even doing here?
I don't know. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm legitimately looking forward to some of their sequels and some of their
Nice.
content. It just like in watching it, I'm just like, why haven't they actually like leaned in and done more? Like I know it takes a lot of work, and they've done a ton of work even as it is, but um, yeah. So it makes me look forward to future projects, both
Nice.
Warhammer TV and any of their Amazon stuff. So
Okay.
they've
Cool.
watched a bunch of 40K. I'm not a 40K fan, and I watched. I really enjoy the Angels of Death series. So
Yeah, I've watched some of Angels of Death. It's fun. I like the Tech Priest. I think he's an
yeah, yeah,
interesting guy.
absolutely.
Uh, I like his sort of demeanor. I think he's fun. Um,
Yes, indeed.
but like the, um, yeah, I'm not gonna get into it. I was gonna make an Astartes comment, but I'll just leave it to the side. Okay. Um, so the, um, my pick of the week is going to be for a video that comes out on Friday, so you can't watch it now. But it is effectively sort of part two of the Daeorgard 2 Kickstarter thing. I gave my fig to John. So I have a video coming out on Saturday that's part two of me painting it, which is doing the non-metallic scale mail. So this is one of the most common. If you've ever had problems with non-metallic metal and you really want to understand how it works, breaking it down on something like scale mail is really going to help. So it'll be a video that almost no one watches. Like I'm pretty confident that like almost no one will watch the video I release on Saturday. But like if people would watch it, they would have much less challenges with non-metallic. That's what I'll say. And hey, very good. Thank you, Overlord Tweak. That's really appreciated. Mr. Ninus has a video coming out where he's painting the other half of the sort of mini diorama that we both did, because I did the dark elf, he's doing the high elf. So check out his video. That's the actual pick. So on Ninjon, his channel, I'm sure you've heard of him. So go check that out. All right, with that, Tom, why don't we turn to some hobby time? You said you've been traveling. Does that mean no hobby?
No, I was working. I have a commission project that I've been working on, and I was putting some paint on some Furies today, so that was fun. Getting that caught up for some work, and then I had boxes of stacked up unopened Stormbringer, talking about Stormbreaker, and so I spent a couple hours today like unpacking and sorting everything and like figuring out what I was keeping and what needed to be built and kind of moving that stuff around. So a lot of like hobby sorting, getting through the content, and then yeah, and then did get some paint on some models even today. So
Nice. All right, way to go, buddy. Good call. Good looking out. For me, hey, Mike. Well, there you go. You're gonna be covered. For me, my hobby time, I finished up this model. I'll actually switch over to the picture here. People ask me to have pictures of things rather than hold them up, so here you go. This is from Natalia Orax. I do not know how to pronounce her last name. Natalia is awesome though, and she makes a bunch of cool sculpts with her company. And so this will show up in a future video, but I finished this up. This is all about doing sheer cloth. And so, yeah, this was a lot of fun. Got a couple different pictures of her here. Yeah, it's just a really fun. I wanted something after being at Monty. I was pretty inspired, and I wanted something that was, fun, but also let me do some interesting sort of things with. And so I wanted to do this. Yeah, this was, I thought, pretty cool. Got to play around with sheer cloth, which I really enjoy doing. And once that was done, and I got to have my pudding, it was time to go back to the meat, as it were, or whichever. I don't know. Go back to the vegetables. I don't know. You get the point. And I'm painting a clan rat again. So back on it. We got to get back on the horse here, Tom. We got to get them. I got to have 1,000 points ready for February. So, there you go. Ugh with
I haven't started mine yet.
Ugh with the big super chat. Happy Thanksgiving to both of you. Thanks for teaching us how to paint, Vince. Ugh, There's no Ugg for that. Thank you very much, Ugg. You're awesome. As said, all super chats right now are going to the Get Tom a New Microphone for Christmas. So we don't have to listen to him scratch over the mic anymore. We're going to be doing that. I think so. Keep those donations coming. But yes, hit like, hit subscribe, do all those things that make all those dings. And super chats are awesome, and I do appreciate it. It helps me because I got to buy Tom a new stupid microphone. So Tom knows what he's getting for Christmas. There you go. Because I'm not putting up with it anymore, Tom. We're gonna fix this problem. I know what I'm getting you already. I looked into it, so there we go. Okay.
Ridiculous.
So thank you, Ugg. You're awesome. Okay, and thank you all for the comments, for all the likes, for everything, and for the super chats. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, that's what I worked on there. I've got so many display models I want to paint right now, Tom. It's ridiculous. Like I just have like an endless supply of display models that I want to paint, and I just don't have the time. Because I got to get Skaven painted, so I'm just gonna really alternate. By the way, I think I finally cracked brown hair in a way with this figure that I hadn't figured out previously.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so one of the things that I used here, I don't have a really good picture of the sort of golden angle of her hair, but one of the things I used in the auburn hair that I hadn't used before was fluorescent orange. I'll make a video on it sometime. I was experimenting around, and I
like undershading with it.
No, just like actually integrating it into the various the various steps. Yeah. It just gave the off the highlight, but not in the midtone. It gave the midtone brown like a richness of the actual warm light hitting the hair in a way that felt very natural. So, at any rate, something that probably will deserve its own video in the future. Okay, cool. So that's been my hobby time. With hobby time out of the way, Tom, are you ready? Are you prepared? Have you gotten yourself pledged to darkness? Let it rain. So yes, we begin. Slaves to Darkness.
Painting a Slaves to Darkness model today.
Okay, well, good. So the first thing, Tom, I'll say is Furies, absolutely. So yes, here's the book. The cover on this one isn't terrible. I'll say that. This is the best one.
No, it's the same. It's the same. Look how much
I know it's the same
space
artist.
on
It's
that
just
book.
better. Okay. It's like a 5 out of 10. All right. So at any rate, yeah, exactly. Guitar squeal. So first thing, Tom, did you know that for this they're going to make new cards? We didn't get new cards for the Stormcast and the Skaven, but for S2D we're going to get new cards. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, we're gonna get new cards.
Why didn't we get new cards for Skaven? We have new units that weren't in. We have on both of them. We had new units that weren't in the books.
I don't know, but here's the fun thing. This is the size of the new card.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're small. They're wee cards. Here's my little notebook that I keep our timestamps in.
How does that work though? Like
so it's actually quite clever design. So your abilities are on the front, but they're small. Yep. It just says the name and the phase, and then you flip the card, and that has the long text. So you know where your abilities are. Kind of neat.
Interesting.
I like the cards. They get knocked around a little easier. The downside, Tom, all the spearhead cards are in here. All the new unit cards are in here. The ward is actually really nicely designed. I don't know if I have one with like a ward. See if I can find one real quick. Because the way they do the ward is actually... Oh, there you go. Bellicor. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. See how the little red bubble next to the save?
Oh, yeah.
That's the ward. Pretty cool, right?
Interesting.
Yeah. So...
Yep. So like 4 up, 5 up.
Exactly. You can kind of see it right there. That's really nice design. Now here's the part that will make you scream. You do not get battle trait or magic item or any of those cards in here anymore. Like, you know, the original index cards, I think your battle traits, your heroic traits, your, spells. None of that. It's the scrolls, the spearhead cards, and you do get all your spearhead abilities. I can't explain it. Shout out Matthew H with the awesome super chat. Thank you, Matthew H. He said evil will always triumph because good is dumb. That's right. And Bulldog Hammer throwing in $5 saying hashtag new mic for Tom. Thank you both very much. Deeply appreciated. Thank you, everybody. Oh, we did get new cards for Skaven and SC? Okay, I just missed them. I missed the new cards. I did not notice the little cards.
Did they... Are you talking about the cards that came with the book? Like if you bought the Gamer Edition? Is that the one
is that what it was? Did the Gamer Edition
cards?
come with little cards? Was that what it was? Okay.
The Gamer Edition came with a sleeve that like the cards were in the book.
I didn't pick up the Gamer Edition. I just had the normal book. Okay.
I assumed that the Gamer Edition was... Yeah, that makes sense if that was just the Gamer Edition.
Warpstone Enjoyer said battle traits, etc. are exclusive to the Gamer Editions. Okay. There you go. Well, that's silly. Yeah, you only get battle trait cards in the Gamer Edition if it's like it was for Skaven. Well, I learned something. I did not realize that was the case because I didn't pick up that Gamer Edition thing. So that's what the difference was. And they're like
33.
Fascinating.
They're like 33% more.
Well, dumb. Anywho, let's talk about S2D. Enough of this with the cards. I do like the new little cards. Okay. You missed it because nothing changed. Ah, yes, there you go. All right, let's talk about the summary for the S2D book. Okay. It was both. You could get the cards with normal or in Gamers, but Gamers came with more cards. Good to know, Lodovicus. Thank you. I missed that. All right. If I missed it, I'm assuming a lot of other people missed it too. Or maybe nobody missed it and I'm just the odd one out. That can happen too. Here we go. All right, here's my summary. The new S2D book has some really big changes in it. But at the same time, most of the units and the details of the book are exactly the same as the index. So what I mean by this, Tom, is 90+% of this or more is exactly the same as the index. It's a complete reprint. But what changed is really meaningful. Does that make sense? So small in quantity, high in impact. Is that clear?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
For example, meteor strikes happening on the Earth as a count of the, of significance, as a count of the number of days versus all days in Earth's existence is very minimal, right? But they are highly important when they occur. Yeah? Okay, there you go. High impact, low frequency. All right, or low count. Okay. And so, well, that's totally fair, Chris, but somebody's going to ruin it, so that's all good. So it raises the question of how much change are we going to see going forward, especially amongst battle traits, because this is the big change.
The big test here, by the way, is the next book.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, right? Like
absolutely,
the real test here is do we get these momentous, impactful change with Auric Warclans? Because
one dot does not make a line, but with GW, not even 2 dots make a line. So you got to be careful.
Right. All I'm saying is if there's an army that needs them to come through, it's Ironjaws. Now, whether they do that, or Orcs, yes, but whether they do that or not, that'll be yet to be seen.
Yeah. So I really do. Lodovicus said essentially 4 pages change in S2D. Yes, effectively. Yeah, that's right.
So
I literally have 4 pages in this presentation. What's that?
Fantastic. I'll say those are the 4 pages we're going to cover, right?
Exactly. Yes, I have 4 pages of changes loaded in here. Yeah, that's exactly right. But I will say, so I played the army twice this weekend. I got 2 games in this weekend, both with the new book.
You were playing the army, or are you playing?
Yes, I was playing the army, piloting it, and finally broke my losing streak, Tom. 20 games, baby.
So
we
the
got
army's
there.
pretty good.
Well, it took me
pretty good.
winning the roll-off for priority and then getting the double, which is what happened to me in game 1 when I lost to Ironjaws. But at any rate, we won't go into that.
You won some doubles games at Havoc.
No, I won games there. It's against this person. Against this one particular person is my losing streak.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
Okay. Hey, Big Friendly Gaming. We're excited to have you here, and I'm sorry you had a bad day at work, man. That sucks. Especially for it to be the day before a holiday. I hope you at least have a. I don't know where you are in the world, but hopefully tomorrow's a holiday for you. Oh, don't worry, Left-Handed Dragon. We'll talk about the list. We will get there. I have the list. I have the list loaded up in the Prezzo, so you can take a look. Okay. So the army still plays much like you expect it to play, though I think due to points changes, we have some new options. And there is one very unusual play pattern that emerges, Tom, because of these new rules. Okay? We'll talk about it. All right, so let's get into the changes. All right, which of course I have the Zinch picture here because, get it? Okay. You get it. Change. All right. So first off, let's talk about the points updates from today, when those became public earlier today. Abraxia down 20 to 340, Archeon down 20. Okay, like whatever. If he was fine at 890, he's fine at 870. Like what? Whatever. The Chaos Lord on foot down 20 to 100.
There's that one list.
Yeah. The Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount down 10 to 170, which I like. The Chaos Lord on Karkadrak down 10 to 230, which I like. All the Dark Oath people are down, including the War Queen, who went down 20 to 120. They're all fine. The Dark Oath Chieftain can join an eligible regiment as an Oathsworn. The Eternus is down 10 points. The Exalted Hero of Chaos is down 20 to 100 even. The Gaunt Summoner on Disc of Zinch, so the floaty fly one, is down 10 points to 220. Gunnar Brand and his whole crew is down 10 points to 260. The Ogroid Myrmidon is down 20 points. This is actually like the most meaningful change in the book, I think. I'll explain why later on when we talk units. To 150. And then the second most meaningful change, the Chaos Chariot down 20 points to 80. To 80! Which, by the way, is as low as it could possibly be without becoming just like outright spam. And I actually like the Chariot.
Won't take it.
No, I like the Chariot at 80. I finally like this. And like I just spent all last week banging on chariots and talking about why they're bad.
Yeah. Like two as prospectors.
Two as prospectors because they move 10 inches. Yep.
Yeah.
The regular chariot moves 10 inches.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that. The
Legionnaires down 10 to 80. Don't really care. The Savagers, Wilder Fiend down. Again, I think it's good that all of the Barbarian side came down in points pretty significantly. That might make them playable. It's just not my particular list, so I haven't really evaluated them yet. Abaddon said, please don't make me buy a Chariot GW. I don't want to assemble and paint that nightmare. I mean, I have a lot of Chaos Chariots because I like Chaos Chariots, actually. I think they're fun to put together. But teach their own. The Gorby's Chariot down 10 to 100 even. And then that's basically your points changes. The other stuff on page 2 is all the Legion of the First Prince stuff, which we can review if we need to at some point. Okay. Which we'll talk about. So, yeah. So that's meaningful stuff. Let me talk about what I think is meaningful here. Now, even though the Ogroid Therodons themselves didn't change, they're 180. I think because the Myrmidon dropped to 150, and you really do want the Myrmidon to lead them, and he is and the Myrmidon being a bonus hero, specifically a Ruinous Champion, who can go into Bellacor's regiment. That actually creates a nice tight package that I like. Okay, where you've got Bellacor, a Myrmidon, and and a reinforced unit of Therodons. So that's basically 510 points for that combo. Not the Bellacor part, obviously, but for the Therodon and the.
I'm saying that doesn't sound right. Yeah.
No, for so like at 500 points, you're in your quarter of an army super hammer number you want to be at. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And the Myrmidon is like survivable enough. Okay. And that's fine. Like he lives enough and can do enough that he's useful fighting and getting into combat. And when he pulls the regular Myrmidons in, it's just like he did before. He's giving them +1 to hit. It's really important because they're on 4's base. And those guys are absolute just blenders. Easily going to like 3s, 2s, 2s, 3s. Making like, with the new rules, easily doing that on 31 attacks on a 3d6 charge.
Yep.
So it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not
good.
bad. So I like it. I like the Therodons. I like what they're doing. I like them a little better than Chosen. The Myrmidons, you end up with 30 wounds. The Chosen, you end up with 30 wounds reinforced, so it's about the same as far as wounds go. Obviously, the Chosen are a little bit tougher, being 3 up versus 4 up or whatever. But you're like 360 points versus 520 points. So, like, you can afford to take the hero, have the extra body, and kind of end up in the same place. Chosen have crit mortal, which is really, really good. Like, I could see the argument both ways. I think I like the Therodons a little better.
Aren't they Ren 3 damage 3?
There's a couple of things you could do to get them around to Ren 3. Yeah, but yeah. So, but I like them. Again, I don't, if people said they want to do the Chosen instead and perform the same trick I'm doing with these guys, I wouldn't be like, oh, you're crazy. I would be like, yeah, that completely makes sense. I think either one of them is totally viable. And they're basically the same cost. Okay. So at any rate, but yeah, the Chariot's hot because it's like a great prospector in this army now. Fury's at 110 and Raptorix this is what people were taking for their prospectors. The Chariot's nice because it's a relatively reasonable footprint. It's like I agree, Abaddon. It moves 10 inches so it can automatically sit on the line and take the flanks in the first turn. You put 1 Chariot on each side of the board. They roll out 10 inches. And then one of them drives around and just like threatens objectives or takes their land or whatever. And then the other one just moves back in and becomes chaff, right? And and then like charges into something, does some mortal wounds, dies. And like they're pretty reasonable when fighting other Garbo chaff because they go in and do impact hits and have like a 2 damage attack and stuff. They can kind of win a lot of fights with other like garbage units. You know what I'm saying? Not with anything of substance, but if they're out there skirmishing with other prospectors, they can kind of often come out on the top of that. Not always, but sometimes. Mike Cathcart tipping the $20 saying, proud to be part of the team that buys Tom a mic. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Thank you, Mike. It's much appreciated.
Vince, you're going to have to do a hobby cheating video talking about the importance of audio and then feature what the community has bought me for Christmas.
All right. Anyways, so like there's a lot of stuff to like here is my point. I have not played around with any of the barbarian type stuff, but enough of it did go down that there's probably a list there now. Like you actually are going to be down quite a lot of points on your barbarian stuff, depending on what's going on, depending on what you
should be able to throw another unit in, probably.
Potentially, right? Yeah. So again, I haven't built that list. I'm not an expert in the barbarian side of the house. It just has no interest to me. The Iron Wall has always been interesting to me. So but I think a lot of people will still take Varangard, which is fine. It's boring.
I played against one in doubles a couple weeks ago. It was a nice, and there seemed to be legs on the list then, right? I mean, it's only 1,000 points, but they seem to have some fun play. And then I saw it on a one-dayer as well, a list doing pretty well at a one-dayer. So
I mean, I look forward to experimentation. I honestly think Varangard won't be around for that long. Like, yes, we have these points here, but like, I think that Varangard are going to still catch another nerf hammer. I really do. Like, they're going to catch another nerf bat at some point. I don't think their hegemony is going to last long. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. But, I mean, they didn't adjust them in the book or on this recent points update, though, right?
They did not, but we have. We believe we have another FAQ coming either, end of next month or beginning of January, because that would be the 3-month cycle. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so if you're thinking about buying heavily into Varangard, wait a month or two before you commit.
That sounds like the right answer to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Rules changes. Okay, so let's explain. This is just a quick summary, and then we're going to go into the individual scrolls here, Tom, okay? So all ability to assign marks has been removed from the scrolls other than the Demon Prince. You understand what I'm saying? You know how in the index you had like on like Chosen and Warriors and Knights, you could say like mark them Chaos or mark them Tzeentch or these kinds of things. You don't do that anymore on anybody except the Demon Prince. They're the only ones. Okay? The Centurion Marshal has some very small changes to the target of its ability because it used to target Undivided. That doesn't really exist in the same way anymore. So that like it like its wording got slightly different. It's not really the biggest deal. It doesn't matter. No one ever takes this unit, so it's completely irrelevant. And then, as has been widely reported, yes, the War Shrine, both Manticore Lords, and the Soul Grinder are all gone. Out.
That hurts my heart.
I mean, is what it
Like
is.
one of my first major big conversions was a War Shrine. And
Yeah,
I love
sure.
that conversion, and I'm sad now.
Hey, and yet, the number of things I've had retired at this point, I'm okay with it. I'm on the journey. It's fine. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So, you know, is what it is. Let's see here. All right, so let's get into the big change, Tom. This is where it actually matters. Okay, so this is like your battle traits are completely different now. They're just completely different. I don't know how else to say it. It's totally changed.
That's great. I accept.
So, thing number one to talk about.
Iron Jaws make it happen.
Exactly, yeah. Can we get the same effect for Iron Jaws? Okay. Big Friendly Gaming. Wait, the Soul Grinder was in AOS? Not if you ever looked at any tables, no. But, like, theoretically, yes. He was hypothetically in there. You could never observe him in the wild, right? But he did exist. It's like a giant squid or something. Okay. So the first thing to explain is that you now are playing a role-playing game, Tom. Okay? When you play Slaves to Darkness.
Sure.
And so you've got to pick.
Everybody's leveling up.
You got to pick your character who is going on their heroic quest. Okay? So you pick a friendly, non-unique Warriors of Chaos or Dark Oath hero to be the target of this ability in your deployment phase. Now that's actually interesting because that does limit who you can pick. Okay? So like the obvious people you can't pick. It's like obviously you can't pick Archeon, Abraxia, Bellicor, Eternus, any of these people, right? They're all unique. Sure, we know that. But you also can't pick like the Centurion Marshal. You cannot pick the Ogroid Myrmidon. Okay? You cannot pick, who else am I thinking of here? There's one more. What's the other one? I don't know. There's one more, I think. But anyways, you can't pick any of those because, the Gaunt Summoners, obviously. Yeah. That's the other ones. Okay. Because they are neither Warriors of Chaos or Dark Oath heroes. Okay? So your potential picks are effectively the Chaos Lord on foot or Demonic Mount or Karkadrak. So the three versions of those guys. The Exalted Hero or the Sork Lord. Okay? Or one of the three Dark Oath characters. Okay? Okay. So, and then what are you trying to... So that's going to be your protagonist. You get to pick one character. They're your protagonist. Okay? And each time the target uses a fight ability, you gain D3 Dark Apotheosis points. Okay? And at the end of your turn, if the target is contesting an objective that is wholly outside friendly territory, which is very difficult in some games. Think of like the one where they start here in the corner, and then they come in, and then they come in. The name of it eludes me at this exact moment, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Yep. That is very hard to ever do this, right? So at any rate, you gain D3 Dark Apotheosis points.
Sure.
The point of this being is this is generally only good probably on a fighty hero. And as we know, like Foot the Vice. Thank you, CW Craner. I couldn't remember it. yeah. Most heroes who fight in this game just die. Because what are you fighting? You're fighting enemy super hammers. Okay. And super hammers just splat your little hero against the wall. So, like, generally the Lord on Demonic Mount or Lord on Karkadrak are kind of the only two who are really going to be able to complete this.
Yeah.
Maybe without becoming a stain on the wall or the ground. Okay. So, let's say you build up your points. What do you get? All right. So, in your hero phase, if you have 8 or more Dark Apotheosis points, you get to pick one of the following. This is once per battle. So, you only get to do this once. Okay. You can either heal X the target, where X is the amount of damage they currently have. So they go back to full life.
You heal all your damage back.
And they get a ward of 5 up for the rest of the game. Okay.
Yep.
Or they become a Demon Prince. They're a Demon Prince now. Sure. And they pop back in with all of their previous gear. Okay. Yeah. And if they had pledged before, they pledge now. What does that mean? Well, we'll talk about it in a second. So that's the quest you're on. Okay.
Sure.
So that's fun.
You know what I love more than anything else?
What's that?
That this hero that went on the hero's journey.
Yes.
And they achieve it in game 1 are back from being a Demon Prince in game 2.
Sure. It's a repeated journey.
Or it's a different guy. Mm-hmm. Or that guy just left. He's like, peace out. I'm out of here. On to bigger and better things.
Yeah, Obscuraminator said Chaos Lord slaps around 10 steel helms for 3 rounds and it totally blows the minds of all 4 Chaos Gods. Whoa! Dude, you're so strong. Yeah, exactly. Like getting a fight with Chaff. But it's cool. Like it's a fun little thing. I like this. It's a fun little narrative rule. I never, none of my heroes ever got close. My little hero, he died all the times. I tried. He tried and failed. He tried and died. So yes, he definitely put his right hand in the box. Okay, so that's the first thing to understand. Now, here's the second thing to understand now, Tom. You'll understand this part coming from the background and having the degree that you have, okay? Mm-hmm. So, once per turn army your hero phase, pledge to chaos. Pick a friendly, non-unique Slaves to Darkness unit that does not already have one of the keywords, like Tzeentch, Khorne, blah, blah, blah. Okay?
Sure.
And you can choose to pledge them to that keyword for the rest of the battle. Okay? If you pledge to Tzeentch, then you gain a new ability once per turn in your movement phase to do, like, effectively a short-range teleport for the unit, which is pretty cool, actually. It can kind of jump around. It can jump out of combat if you roll far enough. You gotta, like, roll hot enough to get your whole unit 9 inches away. But it can be doable. Mm-hmm. You get, if you're Khorne, you just straight up get +1 attacks. Like, not just on the charge, just, like, straight up +1 attack. If you're Nurgle, you get a ward of 6 up. If you already have a ward of 6 up, you go to 5 up. If you pledge to Slaanesh, you get 3d6 charge. Okay? So, pretty cool abilities. Now, the trick is you're assigning these in each hero phase, in your hero phase, 1 round at a time. Right? You with me?
Yep.
So, what this means is that in the middle of the fight, okay, your people are like, woo, hallelujah, I've been moved by the Holy Spirit, I have seen the light, and now I will pledge myself here and forever to the great and glorious powers of Slaanesh. I can see that this round I'm going to need to make a heck of a charge, and I need the Lord, my God, Slaanesh, on my side, giving me this 3d6 charge. Let's get there, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! You feel the spirit move through you, Tom. And so, like, throughout the game, your troops just have these, like, religious revelations. Okay? And it, like, spreads like wildfire through the army. Like, in round 2, Unit 2 is like, I've been talking to them, and they said that this is a great life. And I, too, need to make a charge this round. I, too, will dedicate myself here and forevermore to the glorious hedonism and ecstasy that is Slaanesh. Yeah, so it's funny because, like, yes, as the game evolves, depending on what you need, like, oh, I've got a unit that's just stuck in, and they're going to somebody clip that, by the way. That was like so clippable. At any rate, the like you got a unit that's just stuck in. Okay, if they need to survive, you pledge
Yeah.
them to Nurgle.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you need
yeah,
to
yeah.
kill the thing, you pledge to Corn, right, or whatever, and so on.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny to me that like it really is like the purest of pragmatism.
Mm-hmm.
Like it actually cuts two different ways
Yeah.
because yes, it is silly for them to be having these religious revelations, and at the same time, it is 100% purely driven by their own greedy needs. Their own, like
Right.
each unit's own selfish needs on the battle at that moment in time. Pursuing the god that benefits them the most.
Mm-hmm.
So it is an interesting shift. Again, this goes back to my critique of did they forget their religious revelation from the last battle when they roll back onto the
Correct.
field the
No, they roll
the
back and
next
they're like,
day?
we've forgotten all that. We're back to questioning again. We're not sure about our faith.
Yep. Takesies, backsies. Nope.
Mm-hmm. Arden Throne, to answer your question, no. It's a passive ability you use every charge phase. It's worded like that because you can only use it in your charge phase. It's so you can't 3d6 charge off turn. Right? That's why it's worded like that. So, there you go.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. I pledged to Slanesh a lot. Let me just say that. I was finding myself pledging to Slanesh
I believe that.
quite a bit. Quite a bit.
Well, they have that extra giddy in there, giddy up.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So at any rate, it's just a very funny play pattern, dude. Because like eventually you run out of good units to pledge, and like your hero starts seeing the light. Like the individual Ogroid Myrmidon is like, I agree. I too will see the light. Let's go, my brothers, forward for the glory of Slanesh. I miss my calling in life. All right, so at any rate,
Clearly. It makes me wonder though, as an aside, like
yeah,
theming armies to
Mhm.
gods
yeah,
seems
yeah.
like maybe a thing of the past since everything's going to change every game.
Right. You just constantly like you will have games where you're just like, oh, I want to actually be this instead, right? Like that's this becomes the right choice instead. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. So at any rate, it's very funny and it led to, of course, by the way, what I just did, I did exactly that performance every time I pledged during the game. Like I can't help myself. When I use that ability, it's not just like I use the ability. I go full into like baby Billy mode every time.
So this is clearly the new WOG. Like
Yeah, exactly.
like the orcs will be wogging down the line and you'll hear these Slanesh preachers.
Exactly. All right. So this is obviously a huge change into both the play pattern, into how your units are, and so on and so forth, right? Like this is big. All right. So you cannot start the game pledged to any god. I should say the Demon Prince does get to automatically pledge to a god, by the way. Unless you're a Demon Prince, like the Demon Prince gets to automatically start pledged, and so gets one of these abilities.
But would they know what they want right away? Like probably Slanesh for the charge?
I mean, yeah, that's just the thing. It's almost a downside for the Demon Prince since they have to pre-pick it, but you do get to have a bonus when pre-started. Now, you don't get to start the battle pre-marked, except you do, which we'll talk about in a second, but with only one unit. We'll get there. Okay. All right. So just one minor change here on the heroic traits. And that is don't worry, Dad Bod. Don't spoil it, Dad Bod. We're going there. I've read the book, homie. I know where we're going. It's a reveal. We're building to a reveal. Okay. So just a quick note of a change on heroic traits. The old heroic trait referenced a thing that exists. So now Favor to the Pantheon is now, if this unit is picked as the target of the Eye of the Gods ability, it gains 3 Dark Apotheosis points in the deployment phase. So you start at 3 of 8 instead of 0 of 8. So there you go.
Gives you a shot at getting it turn 2.
Yeah, theoretically. Yeah. I mean, technically, you could
Hypothetically.
get it turn one if you like, got across the board,
In
fought
combat.
in your one, and it was in combat for both top of one and bottom of one. You could, and you rolled, like,
3-2.
like basically
and
a
start
3 and a
with
2. Yeah, exactly. Rolled above average. Yeah. Okay. But everything
Sure.
else here is the same.
Bottom of one. Right.
Exactly. I didn't say it's likely. I said it's possible. All the rest of these are still Garbo. Your artifacts are still Garbo. And it's really a shame. And the sub factions are still Garbo. Just complete hot garbage. I literally forgot to use it one game. It wouldn't have mattered at all. It never came up. It wouldn't have ever come up. It wouldn't have ever been relevant. And so I hate all of them and wish that they had done better. Do better. The sub factions are terrible. Okay, so
Did the spell organ change at all?
no, it's the same. Speller's the same. Manifestation's the same. All that. I had to actually go page by page when I was putting this together just to make sure I didn't miss anything. But at any rate, Tom, remember how I said you can't start with anything marked except the Demon Prince? I lied. Ha 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 ha. Okay. So, you can start with an ensorcelled banner. So this is a unique enhancement. That's right. Apparently, these guys get a unique enhancement. So I guess that will be a thing now. We could have seen some of that with like Stormcast or Skaven, but that's what we call the first book penalty. Never be the first books. You never get the fun toys. I agree. Abaddon Radiance is still kind of the only good one. So ensorcelled banners, it's a standard enhancement, so that means you get to pick one. Okay. And you can pick basically one of these 5 banners and give it to an infantry or cavalry unit with the standard bearer keyword. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
So importantly, this can be Myrmidons. They do qualify as they have a standard bearer, of course, which is cool. I appreciate that. But this could also be like your Chaos Knights. This could also be your Chosen. This could be your Warriors, right? And so on and so forth. So all of that stuff is valid choices. And the thoughts on the Pledge of Tzeentch. It's cool. It's very swingy. What did I say? Did I say Myrmidons? Maybe I meant Theridons, but that's right. Whichever one I said. It's the one that's the guys. Not the dude. Not the singular person, but the group of them. At any rate, the Pledge of Tzeentch is fine. It's pretty super cool. It's just like very random. So, it's going to sometimes do awesome things and sometimes not. Okay, so we got 5 choices here. And effectively, when you take them, you're automatically pledged to the appropriate god where it makes sense. And then you also get an extra bonus on top as well. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the Dread Banner is the generic one, what's effectively standing in for Undivided. And it shuts off all commands while you're in combat. Like enemy units commands. So, not bad.
Yeah.
But you only get that. Because there's no other... You're not pledged to anything there. So you just only get that, right? Mm-hmm. The Banner of Rage gives you Khorne, so it just, remember, is +1 attack all the time. And while it has any standard bearers, you add 1 to wound rolls for their combat attack. So +1 attack, +1 to wound. Pretty cool. The Tzeentch one is the 2d6 teleport thing, and it gives you a ward 4 up against shooting as well. So kind of cool. There's shooting in the meta, certainly, so it could be pretty good on your hammer depending on what's in your local meta. Yeah. The eroding icon is Nurgle, so that is your 6 up or 5 up ward depending, and in addition it shuts off all critical hits. Very powerful defensive tool. Very powerful defensive tool. Yeah, sure, if you're looking for like an anvil unit, like a unit of Chaos Warriors with this is super duper strong. Because not being able to be critically hit and lifted through anybody swooping in with crit mortals, which is what Varangard are trying to do, and Dawn Riders and a million people are trying to do crit mortals. Basically, it might as well just say shuts off crit mortals because that's actually the important part here, right? Mm-hmm. And then Banner of Screaming Flesh. This pledges you to Slaanesh, so that's the 3d6 charge, and it also gives you +1 attack on the charge. So, pretty cool.
That's pretty good.
There you go. So those are your banners. Yeah, pretty neat stuff. Yeah, it's all fine. There's obviously lots of different potential there. So you know, plenty of people on you know, I could easily see something like Chaos Knights with the pledged corn, right? That would give them +1 attack all the time, so they'd go to 4 attacks base with the lance, and then it would give them put them onto 3s and 2s base, so pretty easily they'd get to 2s and 2s, 2/2 down the line on the charge, so pretty good. You know, lots of different options there. We already mentioned the Chaos Warriors with that. Branu says, okay, so hear me out. Fell Riders with the Tzeentch banner, neg 1 to be hit by shooting, 4+4 against shooting and teleport. Good luck ever using covering fire effectively. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I could absolutely see somebody going that route and then using it as the... I don't think that's actually bad at all. I think that, like, using it as a covering fire absorption unit is actually pretty strong, as you mentioned there. I think that's a really great... that's a really great sort of, like, build there. Yeah, and then obviously just, like, Therodon's marked Slaanesh with the Screaming Flesh banner. That's what I liked. But you can imagine that with lots of units like that. Or Chosen with the same kit out, right, where they're just now charging 3d6 and coming in super hot, you know, with extra attacks on the charge, just lifting whatever they touch, right? So pretty cool. Lots and lots of good build options there. So that's cool. Yeah, I agree, Catharsis. I actually think this is a really good list. And what I mean by that is I just gave examples using all 4 of the banners. For maybe the first time in a long time, they actually gave 4 pretty balanced, interesting options depending on the list you're building and the tactics you want to use. So I actually think that's... very impressive. We did it. It took 10 years of AOS for us to get to equivalent marks. But like, I really do think these banners are pretty evenly distributed as far as like what you do. I think Slaanesh and Khorne will probably be the most popular, but it's not like the Nurgle and Tzeentch ones are bad. I just think they have more specific uses depending on your army list. Does that make sense?
I mean, man, again, 10 Chosen with a Slaanesh banner is hot.
It's really, it's great. It's really good. 100%. Hundo P, my man. You know, coming in at like 4 attacks with a, you know, basically 3s and 3s. You know, rend 1 damage 2 crit mortal, coming in, you know, going to 4 attacks each, getting that 3d6 charge.
3d6 charge.
Yeah, like that's what you want to see, right? Yeah. So, yeah, cool. It's good. It's good. Abaddon says, I really wish you could have kept the Index Eye of the Gods and gotten the pledge system. Yeah. Because the Dark Apotheosis is kind of like a... But yes, I agree. So, yeah, that's cool. Good stuff there. Okay. I agree. Freddie says, Tzeentch Pledge being playable makes me happy with how Garbo Tzeentch's mark has traditionally been. Yeah, I don't disagree. I think it is very playable and very good tactically. All right. And then I did include the Demon Prince in here, just because he did have a meaningful change. In the he now has the any combat phase, just he can roll a dice, and on a 4-up he strikes first. And then also he got his pledge automatically. So he gets to pledge and he can auto strike first, which is pretty cool. So that was probably the most materially changed scroll. Again, the downside of having to pledge before the game with either the banner or this is that you are making a decision about, you know, what's going to need to happen. But it's there.
Well, when you place him on the table, so when do you choose his mark in the deployment phase?
No, during army composition.
Okay, I was just wondering, like, if...
So, like, he has to pledge on your list.
Right, but what if he's not on your list because he gets summoned?
Oh, if he gets summoned, you get to choose. If he's if the person who it depends. So if the person has already
Yeah.
pledged, he shows up with the same pledge. If they haven't, you get to pick.
Yeah. Yeah, so you do get to actually pick midstream if he upgrades, which is
Right.
nice.
Yeah, he obviously lost the Eye of the Gods thing because that was like his special ability, right? Is he could like focus the Eye of the Gods, and instead now he's just like a pure combat character. That's like his only point. But the problem is sure, you're never gonna. I really don't think this guy will ever be taken, which is a shame. I love the Demon Prince. I shouldn't say never. I'm sure there's like some list somebody's gonna surprise me, but like he's a big dumb beater who can't go on your little journey of fun. He can't like use the Dark Apotheosis thing.
Well, he's the product of it.
Yes, he's already apothesized, as it were, and he isn't a caster, right? So like, it's a little. I'm not sure what his role is really. Is the problem? I mean, he's 6 attacks with a 3 damage crit mortal weapon, which is not terrible. Okay, and he's relatively fast, but yeah, he's all right. Like I don't know. I'm not gonna hate on him. He's a very swingy boy. Okay, I don't.
He seems fine.
I don't know what you're doing with him at the like. What is this guy? He's 290 points. Jesus, that is too many.
I was
points.
Gonna say 270.
In my head, he was 230, and I was like, I'm still not taking him. Yeah, I know this guy ain't never getting taken. So nice. Ain't gonna happen.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I did want to, before I go to list, let's talk about some other things. I didn't put this into the Prezzo because I just wanted to kind of talk through it.
Yeah.
And that was because it was just too much to put in here. But I did want to talk about the Army of Renown in this book. Okay. Because it is interesting. So, Tom, the Army of Renown, the Legion of the First Prince is back. Okay. In fact, I'll just do this. I'm just gonna. Here's what we're gonna do. So I have something to show on the screen. Legion of First Prince. Look at this high quality stuff. Okay, cool. There you go. Great, that happened. So let's talk about the Legion of the First Prince. So the Legion of the First Prince, Army of Renown, is your roster options are Bellicor, a Demon Prince, Eternus, Varangard, the Chaos Sork Lord, Legionnaires, Furies, the Centurion Marshal, and your Legion of the First Prince demon units. Okay? The specific Abaddon, didn't the Karkadrak Lord lose his ability to affect cavalry? I don't think so. Did I miss that in the changes? I didn't play with him yet, but I didn't think so. Hold on. Pause. I'm checking something for you. Looking. Where the hell is this guy at? There he is. Non-hero, non-cavalry warriors of chaos units. Holy crap, you're right. I missed the addition of the non to there. Yes, good catch, Abaddon. Sorry, I missed that in my read over. Yeah, I'm sorry. The Lord on Karkadrak lost his ability to affect cavalry units with his charge bonus. Well, isn't he dumb then? Okay. All right. Thank you, Abaddon. Good catch. All right. So, Legion of the First Prince. So that's your unit choices. Now, we should talk about the demons that are available here, Tom. Because it's a very specific units. Okay? It's not like all demons.
It's your basic. It's your basic foot units, right?
Sort of. Bloodletters and Blood Crushers. Those are your 2 from Khorne. So, Bloodletters who are good, right? And have their normal rules. And Blood Crushers who are bad. So, no, skip. Screamers of Tzeentch, which are perfectly fine prospectors and nothing else. And Flamers of Tzeentch.
Yep.
Okay. Which are like a perfectly fine little shooter guys.
No horrors.
Correct. No horrors. Yep. Plague Bearers, which is like, I don't know what the point of this is exactly, without disease. And Beasts of Nurgle. Okay.
Yep.
And in the Slaanesh part, you can take Fiends, one of the worst units in the game, or the Hellflayer, the actual worst unit in the game. Okay? So those are your choices. So, like, realistically, in my mind, if you're taking the demons, I would expect Beasts of Nurgle, Screamers, and Bloodletters, I suppose? Right?
Sure.
I think those are actually choices. So basically, you get 2 from every one, right? Yeah, maybe flamers for the ranged power.
And many of them are the bad ones.
Yeah. Bloodletters, screamers as prospectors, flamers for some shooting damage, and maybe beasts. I think that's probably right. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with Dadbod. You should be able to take all the greater demons.
Oh, absolutely, sure. Yeah, there you go. It really is just like sort of meme list now. Now, I mean, that being said, you could play Legion and still play basically the exact same chaos list that everybody's playing right now, or because you can take Bellicor and you can take Varangard. So like, great.
Varangard. Yeah.
You know, like if you don't want to play with the like mark stuff, okay. The pledging stuff, you can just do this and have the different abilities, right?
Yeah.
So in this, what do you actually get out of this instead? Well, Bellicor, if he's near a non-hero Legion demon unit, gets a 4-up ward, and he transfers over to them when he takes damage. Okay, fine. You get Eternus can like add to attacks once per battle for non-demon Legion of the First Prince units, wholly within 12 inches of him. So once per battle, basically Eternus can pick 2 units of non-hero, non-demon units and give them +1 attack. Okay.
Vanguard would like that.
For a command point, once per turn army in your movement phase, for a command point, you can set up a replacement unit of your demons that have been destroyed. Okay. So, pretty cool. That's actually not bad. It has to be set up near Bellicor. That is the big restriction to it.
Sure.
So if he's gone, you can't use it, right?
Yeah.
And so on.
Give some recursion to the army.
Yep. Does give some recursion. And then you get Bestow Favor. If a friendly Bellicor is on the battlefield, pick a non-hero Legion of the First Prince unit to be the target. This is once per turn, your hero phase. Until the start of your next turn, they get +5 control. If they're a demon unit, they're +1 to save. If they're non-demon, they get a ward of 6 up. Okay? So, like, I don't know if there's some kind of build here that's like Bellicor, Eternus, some Varangard, and maybe a little bit of recurring demons to be like Chaff or Prospectors or something that then just keep getting replaced. And like Eternus is trying to run with the Varangard and just give them bonus attacks. And if he dies, who cares? He just comes back. Like there might be some kind of list there. I don't know, but that's kind of what's going on.
Yeah, there might be like a perfect mind thread the needle list there.
Sure. You can still take the Sork Lord as well, by the by, which is the other component there. So you still have Eye of the Gods to give your Varangard like a 5-up ward and so on and so forth. Carson says, I'm curious how quickly do they reprint the different factions? I haven't been able to find endless spells or unique characters for Soulblight anywhere around Austin, Texas. Is it just random? I mean, they are working basically, I think, as fast as they can to put stuff in stock, but they don't have the facilities or can't get enough power to their factories or something to produce at the speed they want to. So I think that's basically what it is. Endless spells have been a problem forever, and it really sucks because they introduced an edition where it was like, everybody take manifestations all the time, and then they're barely available anywhere, which is dumb. Okay.
Yep.
Your heroic trait, by the way, the other reason I could see you maybe want to do this is the heroic trait. Your heroic trait's Dread Marshal. You get to pick 3 friendly units wholly within 12, and they all get +1 to charge for the rest of the turn. So it's just like generically quite a bit of +1 to charge, which is nice. Your artifact lets you reroll casting rolls, which is pretty cool. Again, on your Sork Lord, right? So like your Sork Lord's already probably getting +1 to cast from the Nexus Chaotica or whatever, Chaotica Nexus, that from the dumb terrain piece. And so then you're re-rolling with +1. It's actually a really pretty powerful way to pump that out. And you get like 2 spells, and you get the worst manifestation. You get the 8-fold Doom Sigil, which is just like truly terrible. So you're not going to care about manifestations. You're not going to pick that. You're going to pick like a different lore. And you do get an interesting new spell in Shroud and Darkness, which lets you pick a unit not in combat and wholly within 12 inches. The target gets to move d6 inches. It cannot end that move in combat, but until the start of your next turn, the target is not visible to enemy units more than 12 inches away. So effectively, you can just get like a complete block to all targeting for a unit. So there you go. That's Legion. It's interesting. I don't think it's bad. There could be an army here, but I do appreciate that they constrained the demons to, like, boy, pretty bad demons. Can you still take the generic manifestations with the AORs? I think you can. I don't know. I think so. I'm not sure. I have to look it up. So yeah. And then the other funny thing here to mention, Tom, is that there is a very funny Regiment of Renown that is for the 4 Chaos factions that's just take a Demon Prince.
Okay.
So the Demon Prince can go back into those armies. Okay. That
seems also just terrible.
Like, and they actually gain the army keyword, and then they get whatever their mark does, right? So, like, sort of. In Nurgle, they get a 5 up ward. In Slaanesh, they get +1 to run and charge. In Tzeentch, they become Wizard 1. And in Khorne, they get +1 attacks. So, there you go. So fun.
Oof.
All right, now let's talk about a list. Everybody want to see a list? You want to talk a little list? Little list? Shall we talk a little list?
Sure.
Now, I haven't had a ton of time with the book, obviously, but I did get one list built that I really like, and as I said, this is the list I played twice this weekend. So this is S2D and the God's Wrath Warband, although I don't care. You could take, like, anything, because their sub-factions are completely irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we got? We got a General's Regiment with Be'lakor leading it, who is... And then in there, he's got the Ogroid Myrmidon, a reinforced unit of Ogroid Therodons with the Banner of Screaming Flesh, and a Chaos Chariot. It's just one chariot, not chariots. Okay. And then in Regiment 2, we have the Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount. He's got Radiance of Dark Glory, which is at the beginning in your hero phase, you heal 1 to everybody in a pulse 12 inches around you, including you, and you heal 3 if you're a monster. And then in that unit, I have a reinforced unit of 10 Chaos Knights, a Slaughter Brute. Yes, that's right. A Slaughter Brute. Okay. Who ends up bound to the Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount. Right. Why the Slaughter Brute, you might ask? Because he's bad, but he's the most punch I can get out of 220 points. And he also has a 3d6 charge. And okay. I don't have to mark him. He starts Pledged to Khorne, so he gets +1 attack base. So that's cool. And then another Chaos Chariot. It's 2 drops, exactly 2k. You've got your 2 Prospectors. You have your 2 primary hammers with 2 backup hammers in the Slaughter Brute and Be'lakor. Sure. And it does look sick on the table. Trust me. I have all of this, and yeah, it rules. I even have like a vaguely like Slaaneshi colored Slaughter Brute. I have multiple Slaughter Brutes. Why? Who knows? So at any rate, yeah, this is what I played. The Slaughter Brute actually did fine by me. Like, he kind of stays near the Lord on Demonic Mount with Radiance of Dark Glory, so in your hero phase, he's healing 3. It's not, like, incredible, but it's something. He has really good impact hits against infantry, because he does, like, a 2-up. He has, like, a 2-up mortal damage, but it doubles against infantry. Mm-hmm. Okay? Like, he's fine. His rules didn't change. It's just, like, at 220... I'd like him a lot better at 200 points, but it wouldn't make a material difference to the list. Like, it fits to exactly 2k because of the other changes. So he's just like, he does enough damage, especially to infantry, that he's like a minor, he's a threat. He's no big threat, but he's fine. And like because he can 3d6 charge base, right? I don't have to mark him. And so I start at the beginning of 1 with 3 units being able to 3d6 charge. Does that make sense?
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
The Slaughter Brute can 3d6 charge. The Ogroids can because they're already marked Slaanesh. And then I'll mark the Chaos Knight Slaanesh if that's what I need. And then they're all 3d6 charging. Right?
Yeah.
There is a rule with that, but I expect it to be FAQ'd, Marc Andre. Because his attacks are companion, theoretically, he attack sequence couldn't benefit, but of course he's pledged and so on and so forth. I would expect that to be fixed, but either way. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's the list. So it like gives you reach out and stuff like that. Now you could also just choose to like mark the knights to corn or something if you feel like if you give the turn away and your opponent moves up in such a way. This is what's cool about it, right? Like if it's 2 drops, if you win, your knights aren't marked. Okay? So if you win and your opponents move in such a way to where it's completely obvious that you're going to be able to land a good charge, right? Like you can move your knights right up to 3 of 2 different units, so there's no redeploy. They're not getting away from you, right? Then you just mark them corn and you go.
Yeah.
Right? So again, you've got that versatility, right? But it has like a lot of mobility, even with Therodons and stuff, being base 6-inch move because they've got the 3 to 6 charge. They can get out there real easy. And again, they will just they will crush. They will crush. So yeah, this is my list. I had a lot of fun playing it. It was good. It's very susceptible to being caught flat-footed, of course, because your Chaos Knights, when they get caught flat-footed, suck. This is always the problem with them. And that happened to me in game 1. I was given the top of 1. I was very careful with my movement. I was playing against Ironjaws, and he just moved his brutes all the way up into the center. Did seize the center, very risky. Then won the double, and then just moved forward and got a long charge. And then he had Kragnos in the list, and then 3d6 charged into my knights and pinned him with a big unit of brutes.
Yep.
He covered basically the whole table, and because he had the double, and I was so far back, but it just didn't matter, right? I mean, he just because he went
Kragnos is a beast.
He moved the brutes. He did he moved them to 3, then he ran them auto 6 to get into the center. Okay, then he moved them 7 with the extra move, and then 3d6 charged them. Right, so it was just in the end they just had a ton of movement across the table on the double. So, yep. So there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my list. I'm sure there's other, there's lots of lists you could explore here. Again, in this particular list, you actually couldn't fit in the Chosen because it's 10 more points, right? So swapping the Therodons and Myrmidon for the Chosen actually wouldn't work here. It's exactly 2k. But I mean, you would just drop the Slaughter Brute and pick something else instead, and that would be a reasonable way to fit them in. So find something at 200 points. So there you go. That's my list. But I really enjoyed playing the book. I will say it was I liked the pledge mechanic. I liked having the ability to react. I'm interested to play around with a few more lists to see if I can build a list that actually is ready to take advantage of the pledge mechanic, if that makes sense, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, where you have enough units to kind of over time actually make sense of it. It was funny because in later rounds of the game, I'd be like, oh crap, I need to get that chariot into combat. The chariot finds God. It worships Slanesh now. And it zoom across the table, right? Just to get to where it needed to go to move 10 and then charge 3d6 into something coming out of nowhere. Because I needed to get a unit pinned so they couldn't countercharge. Right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Chaos Chariot to the rescue, baby. Right? There it was.
It's amazing how it'll do that.
Yeah, it's just at 80 points, it's just really versatile tech for that. So again, I think it's just a very, very meaningful point drop. This list is absolutely not viable on the old points, right? It's just it wasn't. This list was 80 points more expensive or something on the old points, somewhere around there. So, I mean, there you go. So pretty cool. So that's it, Tom. That's that. That ends sort of the slaves talk. Anything you want to talk about with S2D? And then let's wrap up. We'll talk about the FAQ here at the end because there was a couple interesting things in the FAQ. And we'll close out on that.
No, I mean they didn't meaningfully update the endless spells, right?
No,
the
they're the same.
Which is one of the things that's disappointing. So because they have some nice looking endless spells. So.
Oh, I'm fuzzy again, Tom. Oh no.
Sorry.
It's all right. We'll figure it out here.
Sorry.
It'll refocus.
We can do the
It'll get
FAQ.
Absolutely. It'll figure it out. Okay. So, I'm going to do my little trick again that worked last time. Here we go. And it doesn't bother anybody because I'm not actually wiping the lens. Okay. You can do it. You can do it. All right, it won't. That's fine. All right, let's talk about the FAQ. It's tired. All right, let me timestamp this bad boy out. Bonus content. FAQ, Thanksgiving, bonus content. Here we go. Hey, if you stayed this long and you haven't hit like yet, hit subscribe. And remember, Super Chat's on with the buy Tom a microphone for Christmas thing. But there you go. Not James from Alaska. Tom, I hate myself and I think I want to start a KO army. Do you have a first 3 boxes to buy? I'm interested in your answer here.
Let me pull
Thunderers, Ironclad.
Thunderers and Thunderers. Yeah, yeah, I think that's the right answer. Like, I think yes, you'll probably want double Thunderers and Ironclad. I'm just checking the it depends on how much money you want to spend, but I was going to check the Spearhead real quick because the Spearhead has Thunderers in it, and it also has, but you're not really going to use a gun hauler. Yeah, maybe not. Just more Thunderers, and Ironclad is probably where I would start. A reinforced, basically, it'll give you a reinforced Thunderers unit and an Ironclad.
Yep. All right, so
That's
combat range. Oh, so yeah, FAQ. Let's talk about it. So, little change with combat range here. In combat with enemy, if that unit is within the model's combat range, invisible to it. So just adding the visibility thing. Yep. Universal deployment phase abilities. Can you choose to deploy units that are in a regiment using the deploy unit? Yes. Okay. You can break up a regiment. I do it all the time when people outdrop me. I always just go to deploy unit instead, so they have to deploy their whole army. Are non-passive abilities such as Burning Weird Flame optional? Yes, you must apply the effects of passive abilities and abilities that state they must be applied. It's possible to do so, but all other abilities are optional. Fine. Can a unit that's a replacement unit... Hey, there you go. It cleaned up again. Yay, it found me again. Yeah, I'm clear again. Can you bring back like your standard bearer and stuff? Yes, you can. Or specific weapon options. Yes, you can.
Right.
Okay, cool. If part of an ability's effect does not state that you can or must do it, is it mandatory to resolve that part? Yes, any part of an effect that is not optional is mandatory. If you cannot resolve one part of an effect, none of it applies. So blah, blah, blah. And then they give the example, right? So you can't if a spell can't resolve if it doesn't resolve, right? Okay, this is all pretty simple stuff. Chanting roll of 2 or more to an unmodified chanting roll of 2 or more in the magic prayers. That's just a cleanup that should have been there from the beginning. It's how everybody was playing it, we all assumed, but there we go. And there's Tom hitting his mic in celebration of the new microphone fund. Can a friendly manifestation that has a move characteristic of greater than 0 be set up within 9 inches of an enemy manifestation that has a move characteristic of greater than 0? The answer, Tom, is yes. Because at that moment, that other thing does not count as a unit. Isn't that fun?
Unit. Yeah. Yeah, just another layer to the super complicated, like,
manifestation nonsense. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Todd James from Alaska. We appreciate
that's
it.
super cool. He read some of your work in university. That's fantastic. There you go, Tom. Yes, Tom is a doctor, not like a medical doctor, not a useful one, but he is a doctor. Yeah. If you're on a plane and somebody's having a heart attack, Tom is the wrong person to call. If you're on a plane and someone's having a crisis of faith, and then somebody calls for a doctor in the house, Tom is exactly the guy to call. You're here. I need somebody who can explain the nuanced differences of 15th century epistemological moves amongst the amongst the schisms in the Italian Catholic Church. No problem. He's got you covered. He's ready. He's got the answers for you. Okay.
I'm there for you, folks.
That's right. All right. So, yeah, I mean, it's whatever. This is dumb and I hate it. I did studies of religion, so the crossover of KO fans and religious studies is not just one. Yeah, you guys are two now. That's awesome. Okay.
Amazing.
Does a
2 point
regiment
takeaway.
of renown require a hero to lead it? No, it's just like they're pre-built, so you know they are what they are. Exactly. That's fine. Border War, remove the Vice from the list of battle plans that can use the Border War map layout. Yeah, because it didn't. That's fine. Here we go. Okay, army stuff, faction pack stuff. The Marrow Scroll Herald and the King's Entreaty ability change the second sentence of the Welcome the Disciple effect to each time your opponent declares a command, spell ability, or prayer ability for an infected unit. Roll a dice as a reaction. What changed there? I don't. Did it not do that to one of those three before? I don't remember the Marrow Scroll
I don't know.
Herald to know him deep enough. Yeah, not sure.
Yeah, I don't know him at all. So
That's fine. Somebody in the chat, tell us what changed there. I don't know that guy. And then Fire Slayers, battle formations, change the effect of the Bulwark of Morton Stone ability to add 1 to save rolls for friendly Fire Slayer infantry units while they're wholly within friendly territory. So that's cool. Good stuff there. Idneth Deepkin, change the second sentence of the effect of the Biovoltaic Blast ability to, for each 6+ inflict D3 mortal damage on the target. I'm trying to think of. I'm gonna actually look this one up because I want to know what specifically changed there. This is the Morsar Guard, right?
Yep.
Yep. All right. What was the second ability? Let's see. Change the second sentence to for each 6. Oh, for each 6+. That was all it changed. They added the plus.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
That's all. I thought that because I was like, isn't that already how it worked? Yeah, it just said 6 before. Assistant Ref had me. Okay. The Arcanaut Admiral changed the declare step of the Admiral's flagship ability to declare this unit can use this ability even if it is in reserve. Pick an Arcanaut, Ironclad, or Frigate in this unit's regiment to be the target. You can pick a unit that is in reserve. And there was much rejoicing. Same with Drecky Flint. Same with the Arcanaut Ironclad. All of these abilities now work in reserve. Yay! John 12:644. I got here late, but do you think the Tyrian elves will be similar to the Git mob like Ironjaws are to Stormcast? Huh.
Yes.
That's a good comparison.
I mean,
Maybe.
for better or worse, yes.
Yeah,
I think
that's probably right.
They're going to live in that space.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I agree.
A different army.
Right. I can't believe it took 5 months to get this either, but we did it. We got there. Your basic abilities work now. Congratulations. So that's cool. I mean, like, I make fun of it, but it is good that it was finally changed. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Beasts O Nurgle, the Beasts O Nurgle. They had a little minor change here. Most of this is obviously just cleanup. The Beasts of Nurgle add the following before the final sentence of the effect of the Attention Seeker's ability. If it does so, this unit has charged. Like, this is, it's basically just saying, like, this thing charged when it does Attention Seekers and charges and does its move to do damage and stuff. So that's fine. Let's see. Bone Reapers, Volk Mortian. Add the following effect to the Voice of Nagash ability. Those abilities do not count as commands. Okay. What did Volk Morton do? I remember liking this guy when I first read him. Is that nice? Oh, Vok Morton. Okay.
Yeah, but that was that before you had played a bunch of fourth edition? That's the question.
I don't know. So let's see. Add the following effect to the Voice of Nagash ability. All right. For the rest of the turn, non-fight core abilities cost 1 command point for the target to use. Those abilities do not count as commands. For the rest of the turn... Oh, okay. Non-fight core abilities cost 1 command point for the target to use. I get it. It doesn't... Just because you're spending a command point, they're just saying it doesn't magically turn them into commands. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. The Sons of Behemoth got a change on their Colossal Slam. The declare step is now pick a friendly Mega Gargant that has not used a Rampage ability this turn. It uses the ability, then pick an enemy monster or war machine that has a unit size of 1. being the big change there. So you can't multi-slam because some monsters or war machines are multi-units. So you can't pick up the whole dragon unit and slam it or whatever, right? That was a change there. Belthanos, for the rest of the turn, each target can use charge abilities even if they used a run ability in the same turn. It's the same thing. It's just slightly reworded to be for clarity. This is actually a material change. Kurnoth Hunters with great bows. For the rest of the turn, this unit can ignore the effects of the guarded hero ability when picking targets for its shooting attacks. The important part there, Tom, is it brought the wording in line so they don't ignore the neg one to hit anymore. Okay. They used to be like the ultra snipers, because not only could they pick out your heroes, but they ignored the neg one to hit for guarded hero as well. Now they're just like everybody else who has this ability, where they can do it, but they still take the neg one to hit. So there you go. That's fine. And then these are just frequently asked questions. It's not going to worry about it. And then other digital downloads for Beasts of Chaos and Bone Splitters. Those don't exist, obviously, so I'm not sure what we're talking about there. I kid. The spell lore for Devolve is each time the target moves, if the caster is on the battlefield, the target must end that move no further from the caster than it was at the start of the move, so basically you have to go closer. The Grimwatch changed the save characteristic to 6+ and the health characteristic to 1. And the Saviors of Cinderfall changed the timing of Sigmar's Justice to once per battle army deployment phase.
Womp, womp, womp.
So there you go. Let's see, when was the ability before? Oh, once per turn army deployment phase.
Was it once per battle?
No, it was once per turn, but it was in the deployment phase, so it made no sense. So it's just a cleanup. Yeah. Okay.
Got it.
Cool. It's just literally fixing the wrong words. There you go. So yeah, and that's it, I think. Oh, and then a couple questions about the new Slaves to Darkness thing. Do I need to actually put the Demon Prince on my roster? No. And who's asking these questions? And do you suffer if you use the Eye of Ed Sheeran, the double turn penalty? No, because that's not taking a double turn is not what does that. It's using the tactical gambit when you blah blah blah. Right. Okay. When you chose. So you didn't choose here. So, and there you go. That's the FAQ. Oh, sorry, there was one more page. Oh, geez. What was here? Errata. Stormcast Eternals. Change the timing of Blessed by Azir to any hero phase and timer. That's just a cleanup. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. No issue here. Just minor cleanup changes to misprints. Okay, cool. That's the FAQ. Nothing too big, but I mean, this is just the November cleanup one, so that's fine. Yeah, all in all, good stuff. All right, Tom, any final thoughts here on as we get ready to round out into Thanksgiving? We didn't do our thank you or janky this year, but don't worry, we will do a look back and talk about what we're thankful for. That'll happen.
Yep.
We'll do it at some point
when we get a little bit closer to the end of the year.
Yep.
I mean, what I'll say is this: when I look at our list of possibilities, what I will say is that looking at Slaves to Darkness gives me hope. It gives me hope. I don't care about the army. It's fine. It works fine. The changes are great. It gives me hope. I know you won a game. It gives me hope regarding the fact that other armies can deeply change with just a few tweaks. Right?
Absolutely.
Like it may be too late for our Auric War clans. We'll see, right? But it does give me hope that something can change.
That's right.
Right, and that we're not locked into those faction packs.
No, it really changed the play pattern a ton with these guys. Their versatility, what they can do. So, I really hope they continue exploring stuff. Like, if you feel like you nailed most of the units, you're wrong. You could do with changing a lot of the units from the index. But like, I would rather see them make meaningful, impactful changes to the really big problems, if that's what we're focusing on. And so I completely agree. I'll say it's a very fun book. It lets me, I like playing with Gas Knights, and this lets me play with Chaos Knights and have a lot of fun with them. So I like Theridons. I think they're cool. I'm never going to be the Varangard guy. I just find that super boring and not interesting. But like, if you like it, I mean, go nuts. I guess.
Well, you don't need Varangard anymore. You have 3d6 charges, army wide.
Yeah, exactly.
One at a time.
Yep. And so like, I can get there. I can get where I want to go. Yeah. And
Yep.
all in all, it's
Who
it's
needs
fun.
Kragnos?
Who does need Kragnos, right? What a waste that guy is.
Yeah.
Do you think that the factions will have large changes with the Advent detachments? I do not know what to think about that, Betty. It's a really good question. Like, because we're gonna get these gold detachments, right? That can go cross faction, cross alliance, I should say. Sorry, cross Grand Alliance. And I am completely at a loss. We've been calling for this sort of thing forever, and now that we sit here on the precipice of it, I don't know what to think about it. I guess we'll see. It could be. They could be incredibly meaningful, or not.
We had it with Giants for the longest time.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, Giants like have been there, right? You can have Giants in every Grand Alliance, and so in that sense, it didn't move the needle majorly. Like on a handful of armies, it was good supplements, but so it may not do anything, or it could Incarnate of Gur.
Yeah, that's the problem. Our spectrum here is like Incarnate of Gur to current like Sons of Bahamut mercenaries, and it's like, boy, is that a spectrum Kronspine
or
back in the day. Kronspine to like current Giants is a heck of a spectrum, from completely unimpactful to annoyingly impactful. So
we're defining the meta.
Yeah, who knows where it's gonna fall. All right, well, hey, thank you, Tom, and thank all of you for watching. And if you want to hit like or subscribe or those things, it would be deeply appreciated. Thank you to everybody who super chatted and threw money at the Microphone for Tom Fund. It is greatly appreciated. We're gonna get him. We're gonna get him, folks. No more scratchy come the new year. So thank you, everybody. Hey, share this out. Talk about that. Don't forget, if you want to support the show, lots of ways you can do so. There's links down there to affiliate stuff. If you're picking up something for Christmas or for anybody else or on your hobby list, those affiliate links don't cost you anything extra. In fact, they often save you money and really help the show out. There's also the new games from Uncle Adam and I. Don't forget, starting tomorrow evening and going throughout all of Black Friday weekend, all of our games will be on sale. So you can check all that out. We'll have a Black Friday sale. So if you're looking to pick up one of our games, now will be the time. So get into it. And then, of course, there's our Patreon down there, too. But hey, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Happy Thanksgiving for everybody who celebrates. And if you don't, I hope you have a wonderful Thursday and a rest of your weekend. As always, we'll see you next Wednesday.